This episode of The Gaming Outsider is brought to you by eWin Racing, the home of the best heavy-duty gaming chairs. I can tell you from personal experience that I've never sat in a more comfortable chair at my desk. eWin Racing has chairs for gamers of all sizes, too. As a Gaming Outsider listener, you can get 20% off your purchase using our promo code TGO at ewinracing.com. eWin Racing, the best gaming chairs out there.
Howdy, friends. This is Owen Thomas, and I play Twisted Fate in League of Legends, and you're listening to The Gaming Outsider. Only 2 jokers in the deck, and I get dealt you.
On this episode, CB, Alyssa, and I answer video game-related questions from the community. Before that, in the news, we discuss the unfortunate but predictable layoffs at Striking Distance Studios, as well as EA's decision to bring Jedi Survivor to last-gen consoles. As for new games, we get deep into This Way Madness Lies and Death Becomes You. And Scotty makes a little cameo discussing Oceanhorn 2 with Rel. This is The Gaming Outsider. Greetings, programs, and welcome to The Gaming Outsider, a video game podcast with a focus on our incredible community, which can be found at thegamingoutsider.com. It's Sunday, August 6th, and I am your host, Zack Parkerson. Joining me are my friends, Chris Behrensmeyer.
Hello. How are you?
Gardener extraordinaire, Harvest Moon himself.
Yes, I've become the Stardew Valley.
Wow. Harvest Moon's cool. And Alyssa
you
White.
Shut your mouth.
Alyssa White is also here.
Yes. And I'm so excited to be here. I missed both of you last week. And everyone in general last week.
Right, well, none of us were here last week.
You were stuck with the old man himself.
No, I wasn't even here last week.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I forgot.
Yeah, it was just...
Senior Gray Hair was on here with Jacob.
That's correct. And now Senior Gray Hair, he's not here this week, obviously. He's in Australia having a bunch of fun with a bunch of merry men, I imagine.
Just enjoying the land down under.
Absolutely. He's rather fond of the Australian accent, from my understanding.
Oh, I got the same impression.
Yeah.
Oh, without a doubt. I'd imagine there's a lot of beach time fun with oil for him right now.
Well, anyway, this is ostensibly a video game podcast. But I don't know why you guys weren't here last week. That's fine. That's your business. I wasn't here last week because I was in Tombstone, Arizona. A little Red Dead Redemption meetup, Tombstone Redemption. Guys, I had a great time. A lot of fun.
Very nice.
You look great,
cool.
too, in that picture with the cowboy hat.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I have a picture of with me and Rob Wheathoff, voice of John Marston. Pretty excited about that. I got a bunch. Got signatures from John Marston's actor, Hosea, Dutch, Karen Jones. It was a good time.
It's really awesome.
I'm a little jelly.
Dude, it was super cool. I actually even ran into Rob Wheathoff and Curzon Dobell, the actor of Hosea, in the airport again, and then we were flying, and Hosea was flying out of the gate next to us, so he just sat and talked with me for like 15 minutes.
Nice.
That's really cool.
It was I guess felt pretty cool. And the Tombstone itself was fun. They do a lot of gun battle reenactments and stuff. There's a little shootout at the OK Corral reenactment. Lots of fun stores. The event itself was perhaps the worst run event I've ever experienced in my life, but what are you going to do? They had like these grab bags for people coming for Tombstone Redemption, but they actually just gave them out to anybody that asked, so they were gone in an hour of the first day. Or T-shirts sold out in the first day as well. The autograph line, I was 10 hours in the Arizona sun, guys. It was wonderful.
That's gotta be brutal.
It was, it wasn't as bad as here in Oregon because there's no clouds right now in Oregon, so actually the heat was a little more manageable because you got occasional shade, but just standing there and just having your brain do nothing for 10 hours.
Oh, yeah.
Because every time I've tried to talk to a fellow nerd in line, I've wanted to eat a bullet. So it didn't go well here either. No offense to any Tombstone Redemptioners out there. But anyway, the time of my goddamn life, okay? But if you listeners want to have the time of your goddamn life, you can come to Rockford, Illinois, October 14th for R2V2 2023, where our special guests Sissy Jones and John St. John will be attending. We are getting the venue all sorted and built, and CB, I think, is on the ground floor handling that, because Alyssa and I don't live in Rockford, so we get to just enjoy the spoils from afar.
Yes, you do. But you know what? It's actually been a lot of fun working with Scott and Jacob and even Kevin and Chris Owens has showed up once or twice.
Wow.
So we've been doing some work, some legwork. It's going to be a lot of fun. Actually going to be talking to potentially some more stuff that could be happening there. So can't announce it yet, but we're working on more stuff to keep making the event better. So
It's nice to see Scott take a summer off as always.
yeah, that never happens.
No, never. But we've also been playing some video games, I assume, for this video game podcast. Alyssa, what have you been catching up on?
The same thing I've played every week because I'm so slow at playing this game. Final Fantasy 16.
Do you think there's a reason you're going so slow through FF16? Are you just not feeling it that much?
I'm enjoying it. It's just it takes me forever to play any kind of game because of the way my brain works, and also I've just been, having some stuff going on, so that's kind of slowed me down a bit. But I'm still enjoying it, and I am going to finish it, I swear.
Yeah, well, I assume petting Torgal every 5 minutes is slowing you down quite a bit.
Yeah, that's true. He's such a good boy, though. I have to.
Right, you got no choice.
I know. Just so good.
Well, what about you, CB? What have you been catching up on since we last saw you?
Oh, well, I've decided it's time to clear the hard drive of the Xbox and get rid of some stuff. So I beat Hogwarts Legacy, finished that out.
Did you enjoy it?
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
It's a pretty satisfying ending. I've got a little bit of cleanup, and I'll actually have 100%ed the game.
Right. Well, I think there's like a true ending, right, at 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've got all the Merlin trials done.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah. I've maybe got like 2-3 hours worth of stuff left to do, and I'll have 100% of the game. So, beat Aliens Dark Descent.
Really?
First time in my life I have beat an XCOM style game.
Oh, that's awesome.
Wow. I guess Xenomorphs really do it for you.
They do, man. That was fun. It was a lot of fun, and I can't wait for hopefully a sequel.
Anyways.
So
I mean, I guess it was good all the way through then, huh?
Yeah. I really did not anticipate this game to be this good. So
well, it's real time tactical, right? Not turn based like XCOM.
Yeah, it's real time. There's no stopping.
That's crazy, dude. That sounds tough.
It got pretty brutal. The end was rough.
Yeah.
Like you felt like you were Ripley in the end of Aliens, just trucking along.
Just doing your damnedest.
Yep.
Hopefully you weren't alone. Hopefully you had a fire team with you.
The face says otherwise.
Maybe.
Uh-oh.
Well,
that's quite a dark descent indeed.
Well, the very final mission is different from the rest of the game. So
okay, that sounds
but still fun.
And
And
it's like the Halo games, right? They always just end with this absolute banger level that it doesn't really do anything the rest of the game does. Yeah.
Yeah. So it definitely did feel like that. So and then I just started cracking back into finishing up Plague Tale Requiem.
Wow, a game I know I need to start still.
Oh, it's incredible. The story.
Yeah.
I have to finish that, and then once I finish that, then I've got to finish Dying Light 2.
Oh boy. Well, that's supposed to be a beefy boy.
I was a pretty hefty chunk into it when other games showed up.
So how far are you into a Plague Tale?
Probably like 35% ish.
Okay.
Because I have to clear some room for a game that's coming soon. So
yeah.
Might need your whole hard drive for that bad boy.
Yeah. And it's going to eat my life. So because Starfield.
It'll be the last game you ever need, I imagine.
Yes.
Yeah, you play for the rest of eternity.
My Lord and Savior Todd Howard.
Yeah, the Todd Father.
I like that.
Yes. So what about you, Zach? What have you been playing?
Oh man, I played Desperados 3, which is a surprising game as a Western because it's a stealth game. I guess there were two other Desperado games in the 2000s that I did not play, but this third one here, I know Thomas reviewed it for the site some years ago, but it's exquisite. It is like some hardcore stealth, man. It does not play around. Like most of the maps, it's not simple. You know, obviously I love Splinter Cell and Metal Gear Solid, but the guards tend to have their set paths or whatever. In Desperados, a lot of guards are stationary and they'll have their vision cones sweep back and forth like they're shifting their eyes. And a lot of them will be like, they have coverage, you know, be like one guy, it'll be like a whole triangle of guys all watching each other. And you got to try to figure out the best way to try to distract them and pick people off. It's pretty tough. And, you know, it's an isometric angle and you have a different posse of characters. And it's cool because each mission gives you a random posse like grouping. You know, you might get Kate, Cooper, and the Doc, and they all. But each character only has 3 skills, so it kind of becomes like a puzzle game of murder because you're trying to use these skills in the right way, and the game has like this intense flexibility with the way you can get things done. Like so often, I'll be like, well, this is the only way I can do this is if I snipe this guy and throw a knife at this other guy with the other character at the same time. But then you get to the end of the level and it'll be like, hey, you could have gotten extra points if you didn't kill anyone. I'm like, how's that possible? It's just so there's a lot of options is what I'm getting at. But I love, dude. If you are missing stealth games, Desperados 3 is definitely scratching that itch. I'm quite loving it, and the developer has a pirate stealth game coming out shortly, so it's kind of fun to see these different genres. Like I would not think of sneaking around in the Wild West. It's just like a fun idea.
I think you need to go back and play one of the best Western games of all time. Fallout New Vegas.
No, I really thought you were going to say Custer's Revenge.
No.
I do want to play Fallout New Vegas at some point. Absolutely.
Oh, that is a game that feels like a Western.
It does, yeah.
All right, well, guys, I'm writing it down.
It's a good game.
I think it's time. I think it's time that you hopped into that.
I mean, I played like 5 hours or so when it first came out, but I think it was just I had put so much time into Fallout 3 that and they were only 2 years apart. It's kind of a overlap. But I think you're right. I think it's time to jump back.
Yeah, with your Western kick that's been going on, I think it's time.
Perhaps you are correct. Also, Desperados 3, surprised at the strength. The story itself is just kind of basic. It's you got to kill the guy who killed your pa, which is the basic premise of about 100 Westerns, which is fine. I could watch it 1,000 times. But what surprised me about this game is even though everything's in like this isometric angle, the cutscenes are still like really well done, and the characters will just kind of like talk. They'll just like talk about small things, like talk about how the stew is in cutscenes and stuff. I don't know, just add this like human element to it that really works. And what I think is really cool is while you're sneaking around, if like 2 characters come near each other, they'll like have a whisper conversation real quick, which is like a super nice touch.
Yeah.
It's cool. Recommend Desperados. We have a review on the site from years ago. Check it out. It's pretty great. I've put like 20 hours into it since the last time I've been on the podcast, which is not insignificant. Yeah, especially with
for Mr. I like 8 to 9 hour games.
Yeah, I just can't because even like these, you get to a room of bad guys, you're like, well, this is impossible, right? But then you slowly figure it out, and you're like, I'm the smartest guy alive.
I love that feeling.
And then you get to the next. And then it just keeps repeating because you get to the next stream, you're like, well, okay, I guess I'll just stop playing because this obviously can't be done. And then you get through it again. You're like, I'm the smartest killer who was ever born. And it's
that just makes you want to play Super Hot.
Yeah, not dissimilar. Or Hotline Miami.
Yep.
Because this game has a very robust quick load, quick save feature. You can just save anywhere, so you can really just experiment and do weird stuff. Just kind of like Hotline Miami because all the levels are like 30 seconds or whatever.
Oh, and My Friend Pedro.
Oh, yeah. I played that one.
Yeah, another great example. Dude, Desperado is crazy because the missions start off, they're like 30 minutes long. And then like the one I'm on right now is I'm at an hour and 45 minutes into one mission. Dude, this game, yeah. It's good. Anyway, great stuff. But I think that catches us up. Let's get into the news. Not a big news week, I dare say. Although, there's some unfortunate news where layoffs have hit striking distance studios. Star Wars Jedi Survivor is coming to PS4 and Xbox One. This I put on here just for CB because Alien is finally coming to Dead by Daylight, and Ratatan over on Kickstarter reached its funding. CB, what on this list intrigues you?
Well, I guess I'll talk about Dead by Daylight.
Yeah, that's such a shocker.
I have still no interest in playing it.
No.
None.
I would have thought this would have. I thought the Nostromo being a level would have done it for you.
But see, here's the thing, though. In Alien Isolation, I already have the Nostromo.
That's true. Yeah, and I guess there are a lot of Alien games. I was thinking because when they finally added Saw to Dead by Daylight is when I checked it out. Because I love the Saw franchise so much, dumb as they are.
Oh, I do too.
But they had like a level where, you know, it was John Kramer's warehouse with the bathroom in the basement and everything.
Oh, that's
I was
so
like,
cool.
yeah, this is.
I didn't play it.
It was cool, man.
Dang it.
It was worth it for that alone.
My problem is I've played Dead by Daylight before, and I know that there's lots of people out there who like it, but I'm really getting tired of some of these like crossover things.
Yeah, I can understand that.
I'm legitimately so burnt out on it. It's like, what is it? The new Mortal Kombat? They're like, we're gonna have Homelander, and I'm like, why?
Because he's popular right now.
Don't care.
And Omni-Man. I'm Peacemaker.
Yeah.
Oh God, stop! Just stop. Leave franchises the way they were meant to be.
Hey man, you're preaching to the choir.
Scott and I go round and round about this, but like Fast and the Furious, I absolutely hate every Fast and the Furious movie after 2.
Right.
Because it stopped being a movie series about street racing. So,
yeah. Well, Tokyo Drift is definitely about street racing. Come on now.
Okay, but
it was little Texas boy in Tokyo.
Yeah. But as far as Dead by Daylight, yes, I understand it's a franchise built on horror tropes.
Right.
But if I'm gonna play around in the Nostromo and like explore it, I'm gonna do it in a game that I don't have somebody trying to just straight murder ball me every 5 seconds.
I mean, I respect that. Yeah. I think the Saw thing did it for me because, you know, outside of those terrible Konami PS3 Saw games, you know, this is really the only chance to explore John Kramer's warehouse virtually. So, but if you're an Alien fan, you've been in the Nostromo 100 games by now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So.
The only thing that I would love to do with it is I would just only want to play the Alien.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Who is playable from? Well, I guess by the time people were listening to this, the content is actually out. Because it's supposed to come out August 8th, but yeah, I would think playing as a Xenomorph would be pretty fun.
Yeah.
Shooting acid at people.
Don't shoot acid.
I know. I had to get a rise out of you.
Like, you're making me mad, man.
I know, dude, but see how easy that was?
Here. I just, for those of you that like Dead by Daylight, the Alien's here. Enjoy. And just murder.
Well, Alyssa, what about you? Anything on this news list intriguing you?
Well, unfortunately, layoffs hit Striking Distance Studios. They're the developers of the Callisto Protocol. 32 employees were fired. The Callisto Protocol cost $160 to make, and it sold 2 million copies against their target of 5 million copies.
I played Callisto Protocol, and I actually really liked it.
So did I.
I don't know where the 160 million went.
Probably to the actors.
Into actors and facial scanning technology, I guess.
I don't, but I'm just thinking like God of War Ragnarok cost $200 million to make. And like Callisto Protocol is only 40 million shy of that. It's just, I think, I thought it was great. I mean, it's a beautiful game. Don't get me wrong.
Okay, but didn't Callisto Protocol get like a complete rewrite at one point?
I do not know its development history. Well, I know it was set in the PUBG universe.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting about that, but yeah.
And so I'm willing to bet that some of that money went to like, oh yeah, because you're in the PUBG universe, like pay us dollars.
Well, they're owned by Krafton, who owns PUBG. So I always just assumed it was we'll fund your Space War game because we want to expand the PUBG lore.
Yeah, I just feel like I remember hearing something like part of it had to be rewritten.
Yeah, that's possible. I don't know. I just think for a brand new IP selling 2 million copies, that should be extraordinary.
Yeah, that seems like a good number to me.
But they're like, oh, well, but our target was 5 million. Even then. So what? At $70 a pop, 2 million at $70 a pop. You made $140 million.
Yeah, so it's not. So you didn't break even.
You didn't break even, but you did pretty good.
I mean, 2 million is a good bedrock to invest in a sequel.
It should be, and it does kind of piss me off that there's so many of these good games that don't hit these target marks and then just disappear. They're gone.
Yeah, which is
Sad.
a shame. Yeah, I know I didn't play the last DLC yet, but from my understanding, it ends things pretty definitively. So I think Callisto Protocol is donezo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was smart they got ahead of Dead Space, I guess. But it was surprising most people didn't seem to like Callisto Protocol. At least that was a reputation online. It seemed like people did not like it.
I don't know, because man, was it good.
Yeah, I thought it was great. Except for the final boss sucked. But
yeah, every second can't be great.
No, of course, It was just weird to end a melee battling game with a boss that required guns to defeat. It was just a very weird choice.
Yeah, I mean, it was a tough boss fight.
Yeah, but anyway, shout out to these 32 people, I guess.
May you find better fortunes where you land.
May the video game industry correct itself on spending, and the film industry. They're both getting out of control.
It's true.
Unbelievably out of control.
Yeah, rein it in. Indiana Jones is not. You do not need to spend $300 million making an Indiana Jones movie.
No.
Yeah. Anyway, I think it's interesting. Star Wars Jedi Survivor is coming to PS4 and Xbox One. There's really no motivation, I presume, beyond the fact that they want to sell more copies.
Okay. Didn't we say we were done making games for the Xbox One?
Yeah. Well, and famously when the PS5 was coming out, Jim Ryan was like, PlayStation believes in generations. Games will not be cross-generation on PlayStation 5. And it just keeps happening over and over again.
Well, I mean, Disney's got to recoup them losses somewhere.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because Survivor is selling very well. It topped its release month. It topped the chart, even though it was only on the market for 3 days because it came out the 28th of April. And it was still the best-selling game of April. And then, it was best-selling game of May as well. So obviously, it's doing pretty gangbusters. But I imagine with, Fallen Order selling 20+ million copies or whatever, EA is probably racing to try to reach that number again. And, and I know, is it last quarter was when PlayStation reported that finally there were more PS5 players than PS4 players active in the quarter. So I guess there's still quite a healthy fan base on PS4, and why wouldn't there be, right? Because everything comes to PS4 anyway. I think the only games you're missing are Returnal and Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah, and PS5s are still somewhat difficult to find.
I don't know, I feel like I see them pretty regularly myself, but it could be regional.
East Coast, West Coast gets the things. Midwest always kind of gets pooed on.
Well, we are elite.
Yeah, that's debatable.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think I think it's interesting that especially with a game like this where they're like, oh, it requires the advanced technology of PS5 to run. I think it just further proves that it seems like these consoles just weren't necessary yet.
Actually, no, it makes perfect sense. They're like, hey, run this game on your Xbox One and PS4 and just cook your system.
Well, I'm sure it'll cook, and I'm sure there'll be a bunch of load screens like the Hogwarts Legacy PS4 version, where like cuts to a load screen whenever you leave the castle or whatever. So I'm sure it'll have stuff like that. When you go to that main cantina in Rambler's Reach, I'm sure there'll be a load screen or something there.
Oh yeah.
But
I just can't imagine like how bad some of the areas are going to have to be with like a fog of war effect.
Well, I'm imagining the frame rate we dealt with on PS5 and Series X and trying to imagine it on PS4 and Xbox One. And I'm not even a big frame rate guy, but that game was a stuttery little boy.
Yeah. But I'm just imagining it like, because this game is fairly graphics intensive,
Right.
we're gonna see some melted consoles.
I don't know. I think it's just a fascinating idea to me that they would go backwards, because also like doesn't that speak to the fact that people don't care about graphics as much as Twitter users would have you believe?
Yeah. Well,
and I mean the success of the Switch.
We've reached that
also,
point though that like, what do you? Because there's honestly, for the most part, they're so similar. Like that's all you can argue. Like frame rate.
right?
Because we don't understand anything else, so frame rate.
That's why we're so focused on frame rates, because graphics are just amazing across the board now.
Yeah. What else are you going to argue? Like, I have 0.1 teraflop faster than you.
Right.
Like, that doesn't. But when you can be like, I have 60 frames a second where you only have 30.
Oh no.
Like,
in your face.
yeah, see, like that sounds more devastating.
Yeah. It's so devastating. You have to see it side by side to see it matter.
And then even for a lot of people, you still can't see at that speed.
Yeah. Well, I feel like I can't. I don't know. I can't see the difference for the life of me.
I
had to run the Dead Space remake against my PS3 copy of Dead Space to see the difference, like a frame rate. You know, like it's just I can't do it, and I feel blessed. I feel like people that can notice must feel cursed.
I mean, I feel blessed too, because it would drive me bonkers if I could actually see it. Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, it feels like you have to go out and you have to actually like be looking for it. But at that point in time, you're not enjoying the game. Like you're like, I'm looking to make sure that my technical prowess is greatest.
Right. It's like trying to watch an action movie and like trying to magnify in on the stunt double's face. But God, see, that's not Tom Cruise there.
That's what I feel like we've hit. That I feel that we've hit that point.
Yeah.
Where everything is so similar, like you have to find the flaws.
Yeah, I think you might be onto something, man. Well, I think that does it for the news, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're news out.
Oh, you know what? Hang on, before we move on.
Oh,
Rataton, congrats, man.
Oh yeah, and
Sure,
go.
it's cool that's coming to consoles. I know, it says Patapon spiritual successor, and I would say congrats on being legally distinct, but it doesn't look that legally distinct to me.
It's not, but
It looks
reaching funding in 45 minutes on a Kickstart is you did
That's cool.
good.
Yeah. And the stretch goal, so it's actually going to come to PlayStation alongside. It'll be right there on the store shelf, virtual store shelf, right next to Patapon. That's cool. Patapon was cool.
Yeah.
Well, we are an independently funded podcast, which means we must pay for our podcast hosting services, website, and etc. all on our own, which is why we have a Patreon page where fans can contribute monthly to help offset the costs of production as well as give back to the community. If you'd like to help out, you can do so at patreon.com/thegocast. Patrons at $3 a month level can get bonus levels. Patreon episode catalog is also available on the website right now. CB, what is currently available for those members?
Oh, well, Desert Island Games with Marina Ryan from Quest Markers. Also, Final Fantasy 16 spoiler cast with Scott, Zack, and Brandon Smith. And hopefully, in the very near future, we will have a trade-off with Kevin and Scott. Streets of Rage 2, Marvel Land, Sunset Riders, and DuckTales. See, Scott just keeps going to playing good games with Kevin, but he won't come over to my house to play the bad games.
They're trading off 2 games each?
Yeah. Streets of Rage 2 and Marvel Land for the Sega Genesis, and Sunset Riders and DuckTales for the Nintendo.
Hey, Sunset Riders sounds pretty good, you know what I mean?
Bury me with my money.
It was never about the money. That's
Good
what
game.
Red Dead Revolver for that line.
Ooh.
Yeah, well, all that can be found at patreon.com/thegocast. Let's finally get into what we've actually been playing. Well, this week, new releases are coming, of course. Everspace 2 comes to PS5 and Xbox Series consoles August 15th. Moving out to a furniture puzzle game, from the looks of it. Coming to PS5, PS4, Xbox Series consoles, Xbox One, Switch, and PC August 15th. Wayfinder, which is not to be confused with Viewfinder, as I did. This is not a weird camera puzzle game. This comes to PS5, PS4, and PC August 15th. On Guard, it looks like it's like a fencing game where it looks like you're playing a musketeer. Comes to PC August 16th. The Cosmic Wheel Sisterhood, pixelated adventure game, coming to Switch and PC August 16th. Affogato, cafe tower defense game, goes to PC August 17th. Shinobi Non-Grata, 2D platformer, coming to PS5, PS4, Switch August 17th. Shadow Gambit, The Cursed Crew, this is from Mimi Games, the developers of Desperados 3. Comes to PS5, Xbox Series consoles, and PC August 17th. Look at that. They can make a next-gen exclusive, unlike the big guys. Vampire Survivors comes to Switch August 17th. It'll also be the 4-player co-op update across all versions. And then Dust and Neon, a cowboy roguelike, coming to PS5 and Xbox Series consoles August 17th. Alyssa White.
Yes.
Which game from this list intrigues you the most, and is it the Cosmic Wheel Sisterhood or Affogato?
You are correct with the first one. It does look right up my alley. You know me very well, and I would love to play. Is it pronounced Affogato or Affogato?
Affogato.
Affogato.
At least that's my terrible American barista pronunciation. Who knows how it's actually supposed to be pronounced?
We'll just go with it because you're the master. I would love to play that, but I am terrible at tower defense mechanics. So
yeah,
maybe I have to wait and see. Like if people say it's easy or accessible, maybe. But right now, Cosmic Wheel Sisterhood is pretty much the only one.
Actually, I actually do have a soft spot for tower defense games. I love that little mini game in Assassin's Creed Revelations.
It wasn't bad. I know Scott hated it.
Yeah, a lot of people hated it. What about you, CB? What on this list is intriguing you?
Well, since you guessed for Alyssa, I want you to guess for me.
Oh, boy. Well, I mean, Everspace 2 makes some sense, but, you got Starfield coming right around the corner. I don't know if you want to double dip. But I also know you like these hardcore games. So Shinobi Non-Grata?
It is Shinobi Non-Grata!
Towards for you.
You like that? I did my math on the page there. I showed you guys my work. And I was like, yeah, I know you love space, but you can't get a space game right before a space game. Come on now.
Yeah, dude, I saw Shinobi Non-Grata, and I'm like, man, this gives me some Hagane vibes.
Wow, okay, yeah.
Like some old school Ninja Gaiden, like Hagane.
Yeah, it was definitely giving me some Ninja Gaiden vibes. The NES trilogy, as it were.
Yeah. I saw that and I was like, yeah.
Dude, yeah, it looks
that's
looks
cool.
cool.
Where we're going.
It looks like the kind of difficult game that I'm not going to be able to conquer because I can't tackle 2D as well as I can 3D. But I envy those that can destroy this game. Dude. As for me, it's a bit of a tie between Shadow Gambit and Dust and Neon. I think both these games look.
Dust and Neon looks like you.
Yeah. See, thank you. See,
I knew this ahead of time.
CB, it's a way of life. Yeah, Dust and Neon looks super cool. Robot Cowboy. What is super cool about it is you have to reload each bullet individually. I think that sounds awesome. You have to actually.
That's a bold move.
Especially for like a twin stick shooter. That is a decision. But yeah, having to load each round in the chamber, I don't know. That sounds super cool to me. Like a little extra wrinkle. And obviously, Shadow Gambit is from the trailers. It looks like more Desperados, which is exactly what I want right now. So either way, except you get to resurrect your dead crewmate and your ship is alive.
Oh,
it's
that's
possessed
cool.
by a demon. Sounds pretty cool, man. But either way, I'll probably be playing both, which is going to be tricky. I'll probably kill myself trying, but what are you going to do?
Please don't do that.
I have to, for the sake of the pod, Alyssa.
I'll be sad, though.
Well, I appreciate that someone will care.
We'll pull Shadow Gambit and we'll just resurrect him.
There you
go.
That ritual, bring him back. Yeah. Nice. Well done.
All right. Well, moving along. You guys have been playing some games, and I have some questions. Because first off, you've been playing This Way Madness Lies.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the title's lying to me because this looks like a Sailor Moon RPG.
Well, yes and no.
Yeah.
Don't lie.
Because you're also
We're not lying.
fighting. You're also fighting eldritch monsters.
Yes.
So there is
Those are the
madness
lost
along with that.
episodes. Those are the lost episodes of Sailor Moon.
Yes, I forgot. We're special guest writer Howard Phillips Lovecraft.
Yes.
Man, this game looks like fun.
What's
Like-
intriguing? I don't want to talk over Alyssa or anything, but the basic premise is pretty delightful. Where you're playing magical girls, but they seem to travel between the realms of Shakespeare's plays.
Yeah, like they're doing these plays at school and then they get pulled into different dimensions.
But then when they're in the dimension, it turns out here's Cthulhu's pet bear.
Yeah.
because it's important to know that this game, like any Zeboid game, is a comedy first.
Oh, for sure. I'm laughing all the time playing it.
I'm just trying to imagine Cthulhu's pet bear.
He's pretty great. He's got little tentacle paws.
God, man, now I'm gonna have to go play this game.
Dude, it's great. It's only like $10.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know, but
it's affordable. It's so much fun. It's delightful.
I'll tell you the best part, CB. It's only about 6 or 8 hours long.
It's true.
It's
It is
exactly
on
the length it needs to
Switch.
be. It has a really funny feature where it has Shakespeare
Yes!
dialogue.
I love that.
And it'll be like, wherefore art thou, Romeo? But then it'll have a Zeboid Games translation. And it'll be like, where my boy at?
Yeah, it's like written how I guess teenagers would say stuff today.
okay.
Yeah. So it'll be a long soliloquy that's like a paragraph long, and it'll just translate to laters.
I was gonna say that. Yeah, it goes to laters.
Gosh, every time I hear that, I don't know if you've ever read it, Zach, but the Star Wars trilogy, but written like it's Shakespeare.
Oh, I have not read it, but yeah, I'm aware of it.
Okay, because that's what that just reminds me of. Yeah, this game looks like a blast. Tell me how the game actually plays, because it looks a little reminiscent of some old school JRPG in spots in the trailer, at least.
It does play a lot like those. It's a turn-based RPG. You switch between the magical girls during the fights, and you can choose to use an item to fight, to defend, or use your unite skill, which is, the quintessential magical girl move that you see in a lot of the episodes, where they all get together and it's this big, powerful attack.
Right, and it's worth noting before every level they do a long, extravagant transformation sequence.
Okay, I do say try to skip it. Don't skip it, but try to, because they make you feel terrible about yourself for trying to skip that.
Right, yes, yeah. I don't want to ruin it.
I don't either, but
I do not kick puppies. I'll say that. I do. I will say it's nowhere near as vaguely sexual as the Sailor Moon transformations are.
Oh yeah, no, it's very tame.
I mean, come on, guy. If you're going to go for it, go for it. I want to see the outline of Rosalind's body. You know what I mean? Anyway, perversion aside, the combat is fun. I don't know about you, Alyssa. I'm playing on the because it actually has 4 different difficulties, CB. And I actually really like the way it phrases them, because it's just like, I like a story. I like to win. I like to be challenged. But I chose I like to be challenged, and it's actually pretty darn challenging. But what I was going to say, Alyssa, I don't know which difficulty you're playing on.
I know it's the moderate one. I don't remember what the description was.
I think that's the I like to win. But what I find interesting about the combat system, at least in the difficulty I'm playing on, is how important status ailments are. It's really important that you try to keep enemies poisoned, or they can deal out a lot of damage, so you want to try to disarm them so they do less damage. I just feel like it leans more on strategy than most JRPGs I'm accustomed to, because I feel like when I'm playing a Tales game, it's cute that I can poison them, but I can also just attack them and kill them.
Yeah, I mean, even on moderate, that's a feature. I don't think it's as prominent probably as the level you're on, but it is. You do take that into consideration, because it does get tricky at points. So you really got to use the ailments and status effects to your advantage.
Well, I can admit there was a boss where I did turn down the difficulty to moderate, and it seemed like I still really needed to do that stuff. So that's what I assumed, but I didn't want to, speak out of turn. But I've really been enjoying that aspect of it. It's been more cerebral than I would expect from the average JRPG, which is really nice.
Oh yeah, I was surprised by how much I have to actually think about the moves I'm doing, because it's not like when you're playing, say, Pokemon, and you can just pretty much spam the attack button. You actually have to think, like, do I attack? Okay. Do I use a status, an ailment, status effect? I can't speak. Do I defend myself so I can recharge my abilities?
Well, speaking of not speaking, Alyssa, the characters can only use an attack once.
Yes.
And then it's gone from their attack.
Unless you defend,
I guess. And then, we have to waste a turn to defend. But you really need to be strategic about that, because you're going to take damage. You'll take less damage, obviously, but
you'll still take some.
Right, but you got a way of like, well, should I reset so I can get my attack spells back, or should I try to buff my party with this character? Or there's just a lot of push and pull to consider, which is actually pretty exciting. For my money, there's too many skills. I feel like every 5 minutes I'm leveling up and learning something new.
And I'm going in the menu being like, do I need to equip the skill or keep the ones I have? Yeah,
it's fine. You really do get new abilities at such a rate, CB. Like, you'll get like 12 per level.
Yeah,
it's a lot. It's a little bit agreed. It's a little overwhelming, I would say.
Okay.
So I've just taken 2. I don't even look at the skills yet until I finish the level now.
You also get traits as well.
Right.
Which also give you buffs. And you get a lot of those, too.
Yeah, they come just as fast. Which, I appreciate that Zapoid wanted to give us plenty of options and stuff. It was just like, oh my god, this is a lot coming at me.
Yeah.
When I figured out a new strategy, it's like, well, do I need to reset or not? And the trait system is interesting, because some of the earlier traits I feel like have really cool like bonus features, where it'll be like, if you have this equipped, your self heal will be a whole party heal. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
But it only gives you like +5 stats. But then another skill might be less exciting, where it's just like, I don't know, you get an extra turn. But the stat bonuses will be like +35 to strength. So you have to kind of weigh it there. I guess all in all, I'm actually really impressed with just how often you have to think in the game.
I am as well, yeah.
I wasn't expecting
it seems to be way deeper than I anticipated, so.
Oh, for sure. It's deeper than I anticipated, so.
Well, and it's refreshing that, it has all this depth, and it's, and it's not going to overstay its welcome.
No, sure, yeah.
Which is great, because too often does that happen.
I have to mention, some of these enemy names are hilarious. I've seen broccoli coli, and the description is, this veggie is not good for you. There is Jon Snowman, which they should have went with, it knows nothing or whatever. But it goes like, winter is coming.
Oh, geez.
It's just fun.
Or I think it's what's coming.
Oh yeah.
Right? Or am I
it's
wrong?
something like that. But it's fun to look at the enemy names in the description just to see what Zapoid came up with.
Okay.
Yeah, the whole game is surprisingly funny. There are way more hits than misses with the jokes.
Oh yeah, I'm laughing so much, and I'm not a big laugher. You wouldn't know that by listening to this podcast, but I don't laugh that much, so...
That doesn't seem true based on our experience.
You guys get the laugh machine. Most of the time, that's hidden. But this game is making me laugh, so... It's an impressive feat.
No doubt.
Good. So you both definitely recommend it then, or?
I do.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I think it's extraordinary. Yeah.
All right. Well, also Alyssa has been playing Death Becomes You, which also based on its trailer kind of looks very Alyssa-like.
Yes.
In the fact that it's another wonderful narrative game, but I'm curious because it seems like there could be multiple paths and branches to this one too.
For sure, yeah. Death Becomes You is a not a graphic novel, a visual novel, and basically you're playing. You can name your character whatever you want to name her. Her best friend Lyra, who was her mentor at school, is murdered, and you have to decide which of the 4 girls that comes to the crime scene is the actual murderer. So you have to decide who is suspicious, and what you decide influences your ending. And there are 13 different endings. I've gotten 2 so far. I'm on my 3rd run. And the developer even warns you most of the endings are bad, and I've gotten bad endings both times.
Okay. So you chose the wrong murderer.
It's not necessarily that, it's just the way the characters are lined up in the selection process triggers different events to happen.
Okay.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting. My first run took me about an hour and a half, but on your subsequent runs, you can skip all the dialogue you've previously seen.
Okay.
So you just go straight to the choices.
Yeah, dude, that's such a blessing when you can do that.
Yeah. Or you could, just have a save file and after every choice and then just go back. And I haven't done that yet.
Branch path.
Yeah.
Oh, do they do like the super fast speed when you're like skip to this and also just like
Oh, you can't even read it. It's so fast.
Yeah. It's like
love that.
Well, it reminds me of Danganronpa.
Yep.
It's very similar to that, yeah. I will say, though, for a game that's centered on death, you don't see anything, and the blood that is shown just looks like hot pink paint. A little disappointing in that regard.
Right, well, yeah, as we learned right before the podcast episode, you're a huge fan of gore.
I am, yeah. Surprisingly.
Yeah. It is surprising. An innocent angel like yourself.
Yes, I am very innocent in other areas, but when it comes to gore, I love it. Give me the more the better. So I'm like, why am I just saying pink paint?
Yeah, you got ripped off.
And there's also some Yuri elements in this game as well, which I'm like, okay.
That's boy on boy?
Yeah, girls love.
Girl on girl.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I forget people don't know.
Well, I always
Manga
get confused.
brain.
Isn't there a boy love anime called Yuri on Ice?
Yes,
right?
his name is Yuri.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite anime of all time, by the way. It's amazing.
Wow, okay.
I love it.
I've heard nothing but good things. I just because I just
it is
so in
confusing,
my brain,
though,
Yuri means boy on boy because he's a gay boy in that.
Yeah,
thing.
it teases it. It's not actually like coming out and just showing it to you, but it's very much suggesting these elements, and it gets a little bit spicy with the dialogue. Not too much, but a little bit.
Oh yeah,
just enough.
Yeah,
just
you get some double entendres.
Okay.
Sometimes it feels like you're reading a romance novel at points.
I would say, does it get you excited as a reader, or?
You're asking the wrong person.
Oh, okay. I'll write that down in my notes that I keep on you.
No, I'm demisexual, so it doesn't work on me usually.
Understood.
If anyone's curious about that, I can answer off the podcast. But
yeah,
we'll keep that for there.
Yeah, that's for that. So death becomes you. Do you recommend, or is it just kind of another throwaway?
I'm enjoying it. I would say if you want to play a murder mystery game where, you're going to have to play it several times at least probably to figure out who the killer is, because I still have not figured it out after 2.5 runs. And there's 13 if you want to play the whole game and get every ending. If you want something like that and you're aware that there's not going to be any gore or anything, if that's something you're interested in, if you hate gore, you'll love this game. I think you would enjoy it, but if you're not into murder mysteries, you're not into visual novels, you probably won't like it. So, if it's up your alley, I would say play it.
Fair enough. So,
cool. Well, that's that then. Thank you, Alyssa and CB, for guiding us through that. Scott and Rel sat down to discuss Oceanhorn 2, a game I've actually been intrigued by for many years, but it was an Apple Arcade exclusive until recently. Oceanhorn 2 finally came to PC and consoles, and they sat down to talk about it. Let's listen to what they have to say right now.
Well, hello there, Rel. How are you doing today, sir?
Doing fantastic. I am full of pizza and vigor.
That's a good way to be, man. I am currently somewhere in the middle of Australia, as of the time everybody hearing this. I'm not on this episode. I just had to get my voice in there somehow, so I decided to come do a review with you, man. I hope you're okay with that.
Well, I am perfectly okay with it as long as you do not touch, interact with, get bitten by, stabbed by, sliced by, or eaten by anything in Australia.
Okay, I'll do my best.
Come
I'm
back
doing
safe.
my best, apparently. So I'm actually a little jealous of you that you get to review this game. The Oceanhorn 2 is the name of it. I was this close to pulling the trigger and reviewing this one for myself, but I just had too many games I had to take care of. So I'm really excited to hear you talk about this one because our listeners know I'm a massive Zelda fan, and this game looks very, very much like a Zelda game. So before we get into it, I want to give a shout out to the publisher who actually provided us with a copy of the game. It's FDG Entertainment, and the developer is Corn Fox and Brothers. Now, this game was originally a Apple Arcade game, correct? This was originally just on phone.
Yeah, it was a mobile game before it came to Steam and eventually console.
Mm-hmm. And I never played the first one. Did you play the first one?
No, but I looked at screenshots and it looked more akin to Link to the Past, top-down isometric view Zelda.
Sure.
And Oceanhorn is more straight-up Wind Waker type feel to it, and also with the camera angle.
Okay. And now when you say Wind Waker, I immediately think of cel-shaded graphics.
Yeah, I mean, it's not quite as cartoony, but it does have that kind of vibe where it's a little bit cel shaded to it, or at least in the feel of it. I don't know. I feel like the art direction is very Wind Waker, and also in the fact that you have a ship and you sail around the world and there are islands and whatnot.
Okay. So you're speaking my language so far. You're making me want to, number one, jump back into Wind Waker because I haven't played that game in a minute. But is this a Zelda game? Is it a Zelda light game, or is it something completely different?
It's sort of a Zelda light. There's dungeons, there's monsters to hit, there's certain very familiar monsters. There's, the slime monsters, and then there's the big bulbous creatures that spit things at you. And then one of the other major enemy types in the game is like soldiers that will attack you, and they come in different flavors. But it's ultimately, like I said, more of a Zelda light. It's not exactly a super robust game.
Okay. I mean, that's kind of what you expect. I mean, at least what I expect coming from a game that was originally on a mobile device. Don't get me wrong. You're able to do all sorts of crazy things on mobile nowadays, right? You can stream your Xbox games to your mobile device. So,
yeah, I mean, that's the thing, though. Maybe I'm not the right target audience because it was originally a mobile game, and I understand that certain things have to be adjusted or slimmed down in order for it to be even doable on mobile, let alone playable at a good pace. But it felt like it was a decent attempt at a Zelda game, but it wasn't super deep. The puzzles weren't terribly complex. You don't really have too many items. You basically get a gun that can shoot 3 different elemental shots, lightning, water, and fire. You get bombs, you get a hook shot, and those are separate from the gun. And they somehow do similar yet different things. But it just felt kind of a step backward in some of the design decisions.
interesting. How so?
Well, I touched on this a little bit in the written review. You can, the combat in particular is pretty dull. The enemies have what feels like a lot of HP, and you have a dodge roll so you can dodge away, but you also have a stamina bar, like Dark Souls, except it's not really Dark Souls-ish in the sense that you don't have to rely on iframes and either going through or just dodging away from attacks. You can just dodge once, and most enemies can't hit you. Then you run back in, you smack them a couple of times, you dodge back out. And part of the reason why combat wasn't super enjoyable was you just repeat that over and over and over again, a few different iterations for every single enemy in the game. Nothing like Zelda where you hit them once or twice and they're dead.
Mm-hmm. I know you mentioned in your review that the combat wasn't particularly enjoyable, but you had a little more positive things to say about the puzzles. Are these Zelda puzzles?
I think they're also fine. I think what I had much more fun with was the exploration and the puzzle system than with fighting anything. So after a little bit, I just ran past enemies. But they do use what they have in interesting ways. Like the lightning shot with the gun is used to basically complete a circuit. So like you find the origin point of whatever the circuit is supposed to be, you shoot it with a lightning gun, and then you basically drag the lightning over to each like intermittent point and eventually connect it to the thing that you're supposed to be charging up. And that was cool. Using the hook shot to get around is pretty cool. There's a very like zippy type of hook shot, and I liked it. There were a couple of like bug related issues that I hopefully they get out of the game upon release.
Mm-hmm.
One of which was you can customize the controls in the game to a degree. There wasn't an option to change the button for firing your gun, right? Like you use left shoulder to aim the gun and then right shoulder to fire it. But if I changed right shoulder to anything else, I couldn't fire the gun. And
what?
Yeah, at all until I reset the controls to default.
Interesting.
Yeah, and
I don't think I've ever encountered a bug like that before in a game.
That made it very difficult to do anything because I didn't realize that's what was going on at first. And so I got to one of the first puzzles of the game where you have to shoot a switch. That's all you have to do. It's very obvious if you've used the gun at all. And I had changed the button configuration and I could not fire the gun and I could not figure out how to flip the switch that was way up on a high wall until I found a video of somebody playing through the whole game and realized, oh, I have to shoot it? How do I shoot it? There's no button assigned to that. What do I do? And so I just reset it and just... Yeah, it's a minor thing, but it was such a jarring experience to suddenly not be able to do the very key thing that I needed to do to progress.
Gotcha. How's the story in this one?
It's also fine. It's similarly kind of weird because they tell you straight up when you go up onto the world map that it is the terraformed planet Gaia.
Mm-hmm.
So we as the player, and apparently everybody on the world, knows that this planet has been terraformed, but it's also kind of pre-industrial level, like almost steam engine level type of technology.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody, and like there's a fully functioning robot who acts as one of your party members, and nobody seems to really comment on it. No one knows what's going on, and it's not really touched upon too deeply. And so the basic premise of the story is just that the guy that you see in the first cutscene that you think is the evil guy is in fact the evil guy.
What do you know?
And you have to stop him. And it's very Zelda-ish in that you have to return 3 emblems to their rightful places, and you gradually uncover more about the history of the world. But it wasn't anything spectacular.
Okay. Do you recommend people check this one out, or think wait for a sale?
No, definitely wait for a sale, even if you're really jonesing for a Zelda-like, because it's $30 American. And
wow.
Yeah. And when you compare it to other offerings on Steam or on console, like even at a comparable price point, there's much better games out there that you can get in the same genre. And if you want to spend double the money, you can get actual Zelda.
Right. Yeah. Well, double the money, an extra $10, but yeah, I see your point.
Double the money and more than double the fun. Probably. I haven't played Tears of the Kingdom yet. I'm so deprived.
It's really good. It's really good.
I know.
All right, well, Rel, as always, it's a pleasure talking with you. Thank you so much for checking out Oceanhorn 2. Maybe I'm not so jealous. I can check this one out at a later time. Maybe
at your leisure. Yeah.
Well, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your evening, man. Thank you so much for stopping by to talk to me. You have a good one, all right?
You too. Stay safe in Australia.
I will. One more thing. Let everybody know, where can they follow you on the YouTube?
So when I actually do a YouTube video for a review, because I didn't do one for this game, they can find me at youtube.com/relplays. That's RELLE plays.
Awesome. Thanks so much, man. And goodbye for real this time.
Bye-bye.
Well, thanks to Scott Clark for recording that with our boy Rel. discussing Oceanhorn 2. Hey, if you guys ever want to talk to us, mostly Scott, on Facebook, go to facebook.com/group/thegocast. If you actually want to talk to me, I don't know why you would. You can go over to a Discord, though. We got a link to it in the show notes of this episode and also on our website at thegamingoutsider.com. The Discord is a lot of fun there. Feel free to review us on your podcast platform of choice. We always really appreciate that. Obviously, that helps us out. And if you ever want to read something we actually write, you can go to thegamingoutsider.com, where I know I recently had a review of Coffee Talk Episode 2, Hibiscus and Butterflies, and CB reviewed at 35 millimeter. So now that aside, let's get into the From the Outside In topic. Well, it's the first of the month, guys. So not only do my bank accounts cry, but also we get a community questions episode. Our community asks video game related questions and otherwise that we can use as discussion points for the episode. We posted on Facebook, Discord, Twitter, TikTok. Not that all of those services always get replies, but here are the questions that they ask. Coming up first from Facebook, SI Munoz asks, "What is the worst kind of plot twist a game could ever have?"
That's a good.
I think for me, it's the same as any story. Really, it was all a dream.
Yeah,
plot twist.
that's what I was thinking about. Yeah, that drives me nuts. Most of the time.
It is annoying.
I'm not sure why people keep trying. I guess they just assume that, like, oh, we finally cracked the code on when people will finally appreciate this. But it just doesn't work, really. The only time I can really remember liking it is in The Green Knight.
Oh yeah,
but so I guess somewhat plot twists, or spoiler there, apologies. But also the way the movie treats it, it's not like a whoa, it's kind of, it becomes obvious as it's happening that that there's a dream occurring, and it just works. That's really the only time I've seen it work.
Repo Man.
Oh God, I do not remember Repo Man.
I haven't seen that movie.
Oh wait, no, I've never
Jude
seen
Law.
it. Yeah, no, I've never seen it.
Sorry.
I was confused with Repo to the Genetic Opera.
I haven't seen that one either, but that is on my watch list.
Well, there's Repo Men, Repo Man.
There's a lot of repo going on in the movie industry.
Well, Repo's got they all have a lot of blood, I'm sure, Alyssa. So
yeah, I need to watch.
There's been a couple like lower tier movies where the dream thing kind of worked.
Okay.
But for me, the worst kind of plot twist is the one that never pays off.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough.
Like movies that get cliffhangers and then they never get a sequel.
Yeah, it's always disappointing.
That's the worst kind.
I can tell you, I can think of a plot twist that people seem to hate that I actually love, which is when a game tricks you about who the playable character is.
I don't mind that at all. Like, I loved that when I played Metal Gear Solid 2.
I would say Metal Gear Solid 2 or The Last of Us Part 2 are the two I can think of.
I love both of those games.
And in both cases, I loved them for it.
Yeah, I mean, Assassin's Creed 3.
Yeah, another great example. Absolutely. Good point.
Got me. And I was like, oh, you sneaky boys.
Yeah, I love that stuff. Because to me, that's a plot twist you can only do in a video game, really. I've seen movies where, like, I was like, oh, there's some Wesley Snipes movie, right, where you don't think he's the main character until he is. But it can be done. It's just it feels so much different in a video game. But I guess maybe I'm mistaken, and maybe it's just angry people on the internet that I think don't like it, and people actually do like it.
I mean, most of the time, the games that do have those are fairly successful games. So you have the outliers that just complain on the internet.
Yeah. You are probably correct.
Yeah. So, I mean, for you've got yours. Like there's the ones, like I said, that never actually achieve their payoff. So, or anyone that you can clearly tell what's going on 5 minutes in.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, could you hide it a little better?
Yeah. I mean, a plot twist for shock's sake sucks. I'm thinking of the plot twist at the end of Assassin's Creed Brotherhood.
Yeah.
Involving the death of a major character.
I know what you're talking about.
That pissed me off.
Yeah, well, it just like makes no sense for the story they were telling, and then so it just becomes obvious that it's like, oh, because she wanted more money.
Yeah.
So that always sucks. Yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty open to. Can you think of any for yourself, Alyssa?
Like you, I'm pretty open to plot twists. I do guess them pretty regularly. So anytime one I can't guess it, I'm actually impressed. But the one that always gets me is it was the evil twin that did it, that no one knew this twin existed beforehand, and they just pop up out of nowhere like, hi.
Oh, see, that's it. I do also hate that. But there is a very famous video game that people really love that won all kinds of awards where the twist is that there was a twin involved. But I don't know if I can give it away. I also can't remember the name of it. What is the Sam Barlow game that won all the awards?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. I'm not going to say it. Or should I say? No.
No, it's okay.
I'll tell you afterwards.
Do not spoil.
Okay. Well, you can search in all of his games, right? Just a keyword?
Yeah. Well, I haven't played Immortality, so I'm not sure about that one, but in that game and the other one, yeah.
All right. I won't talk about it. But anyway, that game. The first word I looked up was twin, so it kind of gave
there
things
you
away.
go.
Yeah.
You know what? Actually, to kind of sidebar off this one of my favorite plot twists are the ones that like Far Cry does, the hidden ending.
The first Far Cry?
No. They've done it in multiple Far Cries where you just like boot up the game and sit and wait.
Oh, yeah, and you just get like escorted to the bus. It's like, have a nice day.
Yeah, dude, I think those are hilarious.
That is pretty good.
Because I'm just like, oh, cool. Look, I rolled credits on a game already. They always make me happy.
Well, I don't know. This is kind of dangerous to talk about too much. I feel like I'm going to spoil some more games. So why don't we move on to the next question, Alyssa?
Over on Discord, Caramel Bear writes, which developer would you love to see come back from the dead or go back to what made that developer, if they're still around, great? I mean, I would definitely like to see Visceral Games come back. If they could pull off what they did with Dead Space 1 and 2. Because I love those games so much.
I mean, the one that's been on my list forever finally is Telltale.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, feels so good to know they're kind of back.
They are kind of back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking forward to The Wolf Among Us in 2027. Can't wait.
I am as well. Been waiting so long for it.
2035?
Yeah, if we're lucky. Boy, this
Yeah.
I would love to see BioWare be BioWare again.
That would be nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
What was Mass Effect 3, I guess, was the last. No, Inquisition was somewhat similar to their style of game, but they were trying to do too much, you know? So it didn't have that same concise feel that RPGs usually have. So I don't know. It's been a while.
I'm going to catch some flack for this one.
Uh-oh.
LJN.
Really?
I want movie-based games again, man.
I'm with you. I just don't know if LJN is the answer.
But it was fun. Okay, but can you imagine if LJN had the budget they did back then? Like, the equivalent budget, but we're working in a 3D space.
I get you.
So it could be kind of interesting.
They could have some nice trash games or the occasional hidden gem. The LJN, catalog writ large. You know who I would love to see come back from the dead? Surreal Software. I don't know if you guys ever played the Suffering games on Xbox and PS2.
I played the first one.
I know the Suffering games.
Dude, those games were awesome. And they were working on this game called This Is Vegas that looked utterly ridiculous at the time. Got canceled because Midway got shut down. But dude, those Suffering games are so good. I love them. It's such a great premise, the idea of monsters representing the different death penalties. Like, please, someone just steal their idea. They're not around to defend it. no company involved in the suffering is still alive today.
Yeah,
Wow.
no. What about Acclaim?
I don't know, man. I feel like they miss just as much as they hit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can't
but
s- can't say I
so
miss
does
them.
like every other big studio anymore.
I don't know. Look, I love Turok. Don't get me wrong.
Silicon
But-
Knights.
What you want them to be the guys who made Eternal Darkness? Because every other game they've made is not good. Or one hit wonder.
Hey man, like somebody's got to do it. I was actually kind of surprised because I pulled up the list of like all the defunct studios.
Yeah, most of them are EA owned.
Just damn, there's a lot. Like there's so many defunct studios.
Yeah,
I'm just amazed at because it's one that you never really think about, of like all these like literally they made one game and went under.
look, I understand. I mean, Glyphix Games, they made Advent Rising and then went out of business. That sucks. Breaks my
Does
heart.
suck.
I mean, almost every studio John Romero has made, other than id.
Yeah. Well, he spends
Ion
too
Storm.
much. I would love to see Looking Glass come back, making Thief and Deus Ex. That'd be cool.
Oh, Kurt Schilling's one that the one that made Kingdom of Amalur.
I
Oh, yeah,
can't
was it
remember
38
it.
Studios? Is it
That-
38?
It sounds correct.
It's just his
something like
jersey
that.
number, right? Studios?
Yeah, it was like literally like we made the one game. That's all
Well,
we did.
Well, then I think the team that actually made Amulet Reckoning was Little Big. That sound right?
I thought that was the remake.
No, because his studio only oversaw the first game, because Kingdoms of Amulet Reckoning was originally a different game, and then they just loved the gameplay, so they smashed it into the universe that he made for the MMO. Because the MMO was supposed to be the big game.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it was
That's
Big
correct,
Huge
yeah.
Games was the developer.
Big huge games.
Is the developer of Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning. 38 Studios was the publisher, but let's bring back Big Huge Games, because Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning was cool as hell.
It was.
Todd
And-
McFarlane was involved.
Todd
Mhm.
McFarlane and Ari Salvatore.
Yeah.
Right, yes, yeah, hell of a writing. And Ken Rolston, right, the lead developer of Oblivion, was the lead developer. I mean, my
Yeah,
God.
dude, it was a powerhouse.
It was
and
a
it just-
no holds barred banger.
Yeah. So some of the other ones I'm sitting here looking at. Stormfront Studios. They made the Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers game.
Oh. You could have given me a million guesses. I would have never told you the developer of that game. You know what? We got to
Sierra
give
Entertainment.
That's good.
Yeah.
I appreciate. Yeah, it's a good pull. What about a Pandemic? Developers of Mercenary, Star Wars Battlefront, Saboteur.
Ooh,
They-
Yeah.
They were shut down before Saboteur even came out. That's ice cold.
It
Yeah.
is. I mean,
Truly.
Oh, Neversoft Studios.
They're still around, aren't they? Are they not?
No.
No, they're not. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Makes Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, and then
I guess they're soft now.
I mean, technically, well, to achieve Turok, you would need Acclaim. So
Yeah. Well, no, I think Disney has the rights to Turok video games.
they
now,
do
right?
now, but
Yeah.
the OG was Acclaim.
All right.
Technically, Atari Inc. It's no
Right.
longer a thing.
Yeah. Well, but there is an Atari, right? The Atari company.
There is Atari the company, but Atari
Yeah.
Inc.
No, I get what you mean. Yeah, I'm just saying. Like Telltale, their name is still alive. Or like THQ, their name is still alive, even though it's not the same
Yeah.
company.
Yeah. Midway Games,
Oh yeah, of course.
makers of the OG Mortal Kombat.
Well, and
Such
of course,
sad.
the amazing PS2 game Narc.
Good pull. Good pull.
It says right on the front of the box, big hits, little prices in 1995. Only $20 game. Hell yeah.
See, now we all just wax nostalgic for studios that went defunct.
Yeah. Dude, that narc game was cool. You could do drugs, and it made,
Who
your,
was,
made your life better.
Who was the studio that made 1313?
I think it was just internal. It was internal LucasArts. I'm
Oh.
pretty sure. Yeah.
Oh, what? Technically, the LucasArts.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, there you go.
All right. Now we're just going down a list.
Yeah, we
Probably move on
are.
to the next question, huh? Let's do it. Or CB, you want to read the next one, right? That's you.
Oh, Jiki-san, how do you balance games? How do you pick game? How do you balance games? How do you pick which games you want to play over others? Just play them all.
Yeah, CB has some kind of secret we've yet to crack.
Time travel, my friend.
Yeah.
I buy a lot of games and I try a lot of games, and unfortunately a lot of games just get left in the dust for better games. And then I have problems like I do now, where I have too many games that I haven't finished, and I don't delete things off my Xbox until I finish them.
Oh boy. So that's why you're in the rushing to catch up stage right now?
Yeah, because my external hard drive is getting dangerously close to full.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
But-
mean, as for me, it's really just a feel thing.
Yeah.
It's I try to look at the calendar of upcoming releases because I want to play the new games when they come out if I can, and if I'm interested. Like right now, I've started playing Desperados 3 because I was like, oh, there's enough of a break before Shadow Gambit that I can check out this game of theirs. And I want to play the Western game first, obviously. And it would look like, but I had to use the excellent resource online, howlongtobeat.com.
Yes, I use that all the time.
Which I imagine is a favorite of many gamers. But and it's interesting because I feel like the estimates aren't always exactly spot on. But you do the best you can, and you're just like, do I have time to squeeze this in or not? Or it's tough. And that's why when a game like This Way Madness Lies comes out, and the developer's like, yeah, it's about 7 or 8 hours, I'm like, I could kiss you on the mouth, sir. Thank you so much for making this game. But yeah, I think it's a lot of just trying to look at the calendar and hoping to God you can balance it because I want to play old games too, I don't want to just play the new stuff. I want to play stuff I missed out on or I'm excited about, but it's so I guess it's not real. I guess I didn't really give you a real answer, Jake-san. I'm sorry.
Well, for me, I work around review games because I'm in a competition with Scott right now about who can review the most games on this site. It's not actually a competition for me. I don't know about Scott. But I work around that, and then my thing is I just pick whatever sounds the most appealing to me. So basically a mood gamer, I guess. Like, what genre sounds good to me at that time. If something has been, kind of like, it just comes to my mind, I'm like, I want to play that. That's kind of just that's how I do everything in life. I'm just like, you know what? That. In that moment, that.
I think it's a great way to do it. You look at your back catalog and see if anything jumps out at you.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes a name will just,
howlongtobeat.com.
like a title will just pop in my head. I'm like, okay, that's a sign. Playing that one because the title just randomly popped in my head.
I will say that that is an ever-growing problem for me is my back catalog. I was just flipping through Xbox earlier today, and I was reminded that I never played Elijah Wood's game.
Elijah Wood's game.
Elijah.
I can vaguely remember
Elijah
it, but I
Wood
can't
was,
remember
like,
the title.
Made that Transcendent?
Oh my god, I do vaguely remember this, yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, I completely forgot. And I had bought it, and it just backburnered all the way there.
I did not remember it came out.
I forgot about it until you just mentioned it.
I thought it was like when Joseph Gordon-Levitt came out. He's like, hey, I'm going to help do the music for Beyond Good and Evil 2. And immediately I was like, I'm sure you are, buddy.
It's okay. I still own a copy of The Quiet Man.
Yeah.
I never got around to playing it.
Dude, I do not recommend it. Yeah.
Well, that's the problem is sometimes when I buy these, because I'm like, the premise seems cool. And it just gets backburnered. There was another game that came out, like, I think it was early Xbox One. The game where you are a blind person and there's someone sneaking around your house and you have to use kind of like echolocation through tapping your cane.
Oh, I played that one. What was the title though?
Wow. I mean, that sounds cool.
Yeah,
Perception.
See, that's the problem is
that the name? Perception?
I think it's Perception.
I played it. It was a cool concept.
Yeah, and see that's the problem. Jakey-san is you will buy so many games over the course of your life and forget that you either own them or never play them. Especially, this is why I love and hate sharing games with, like, sharing a family account with someone. Is games will get purchased digitally, and because I don't have a physical one to see, I will forget about it until the end of time.
Yeah, that's true.
At least with a physical game, I can sit there and be like, and turn it upside down on the shelf to remind myself, play this game.
Yeah, no, the backlog is real. I've found Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart for 2 years or whatever, and still haven't played it.
It's a delightful game. So whenever you get to it, you'll love it.
Looks delightful.
Okay. Still haven't played the original Ratchet and Clank yet.
Talking about like the PS2 game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still sits on my shelf.
See, that game's great because they don't like each other for most of it, which is delightful. Yeah. Whereas in the reboot in 2016, they were buds pretty much right away. And I'm like, no, I want them to fight and bicker. I need them to not get along. That's how you do a buddy cop, story.
Yeah, they can't just like each other from the beginning.
Exactly. Murtaugh and Riggs couldn't stand each other for the first hour and a half of that movie.
That's true.
Yeah. That way, when they're buds in the sequel, you're like, yeah, see, I've been on this ride with you guys. I understand.
It's the best way to build a buddy cop movie.
You would think. So anyway, Jake Sand, I guess none of us really had a real answer. Just You guys got to feel it out.
Just pick what speaks to you.
Well, CB's answer was play them all.
Yeah. Balance them out. Bring back demos. Legitimate demos.
I miss demo discs so much.
I mean, demos are cool. Jake Sand, if you have a spouse or children, just ignore them. Play some video games instead. That's a good way to go about it.
Or you just ignore everyone like I do. Like, it doesn't matter. Yeah. Just ignore everyone.
You don't need anybody. Not if you have Clive in your life.
That's true. I mean, you can listen to his voice all the time and you're fine.
It's true. You can.
Or if you know Zack, you can just have him say the lines to you and you're fine too.
Yeah. Whatever you want. Let's see. Jumping over. Sean, they call me Iams. Anyway. He asked Caramel Bear, but I thought it would be fun to ask here as well. Would you rather give up gaming forever or lose taste and smell forever? I would.
You would be surprised by my answer.
Gaming? You're going to go gaming?
I will give up gaming.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would too.
I'm sorry, but I love key lime pie way too much.
Fascinating. Well, I guess I'll be the dissenter, guys. I'll give up. I don't really have a sense of smell anyway, so I just gotta lose a sense of taste. And the only thing I feel like I taste exceptionally well is spicy food anyway. So
yeah,
because for the most part, if you can't smell it, you legitimately can't taste it.
Yeah, I think I think that is unless it's spicy. That's why I like meals to put my mouth on fire.
I just can't. I love the taste of food. And I'm just like, to me, like, I would just imagine that would be such a sorry existence.
I think you're correct, but I also think no video games is a sorry existence.
Yeah. But I still have books and movies.
That's true, yeah.
I don't know. You're making an interesting point.
I have a very complicated relationship with food. So, on one hand, I wouldn't mind losing my smell and taste, and I could just, live in happy oblivion with all of my entertainment. But I also know I need to eat to survive, and I would not eat if I couldn't taste anything. So I'm like,
See, what is your interesting relationship with food?
I've had, stuff in the past. And
all right. I was hoping to be a fun answer or something like,
no,
I only like lemon pepper.
Alyssa's the one that brings the trauma out of nowhere to things.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't bother me, but then I'm like, oh yeah, that might bother some people when I just mention it.
See, I would just imagine if you lost your sense of taste and smell, like everything would just taste like gray, which sounds awful.
It probably just tastes like, I don't know. I just imagine how, like, when you have a cold and you can't taste anything because you're so stuffed up. Like, just that feeling all the time.
But see,
Yeah.
when I have a cold like that, then I eat the spicy chili. And
Right.
it makes me happy.
Yeah, I'm trying to think, because do I want to live a life without tasting delicious soda again?
I know. Oh my god. I would never be able to
Yeah,
taste
see,
Mountain
it's
Dew.
Yeah.
And
But then
that's
also, what is a life without Red Dead? You know, is that really worth living either?
This is torture.
but here's the thing: there are so many great Western movies and
Yeah.
books.
I know.
You're right.
See, I think you could supplement
Uh-huh.
the loss of gaming with other forms of
I
entertainment.
mean, I know I could. But it's
All right. You guys convinced me. I'm changing my answer.
I think losing the ability to taste and smell just outweighs.
I mean, am I going to not eat Doritos Dynamitas Chili Limon again? I don't think so. I got to have those.
Yeah.
All right. You guys changed my mind.
See, gotcha.
Who's next here? Alyssa, are
yeah,
you up?
it's me. Mark Szymanski writes, "Know any good jokes?" I've got one that
Yep.
everyone hates. I think I've told you guys before, but
Okay.
do you know why Willem Dafoe always plays the villain? Because he's Dafoe.
Oh, Lord.
I know a great many jokes. Unfortunately, this is a family-friendly podcast, and I cannot repeat any of them on here.
Here's a joke. Scott Clark's summer vacation.
That is a great joke. Oh, we're going to talk inside baseball for a second.
Uh-oh.
So, folks, the reason why this is a joke is because even though he is on vacation in another country,
Another
he's still on
I was saying.
another hemisphere.
right.
He still can't put the phone down.
I don't know if you guys noticed, he popped in for a cameo on this very call.
Yep,
You know, he waved hello.
he was doing work on the plane.
And more power to you, Scott. Enjoy your vacation however you want to. I just think it's funny that in every June you write down this huge list of games you're going to play with your summer vacation, and then by July you're chopping firewood for fun or for money or whatever you're doing. You're seasoning firewood.
He promised me he would come over and play bad games with me. And here we are. It's almost school time.
Right,
And
barely playing any good games.
That is true.
Doing nothing.
I mean, he played Final Fantasy 16.
Right, it's true. He loves
That's
that.
about it.
Anyway, that's enough Scott Clark. He's not here. Screw that guy. Here's a I got two jokes for you. I'm sure I've told them before. What did one Doritos farmer say to the other?
What?
Cool Ranch.
Terrible.
I don't know.
I love it.
You wanted good jokes.
I gave him a bang. He's gonna tell that one to his kid. His
Hey, the
kid's gonna
Willem
crack
Dafoe
the hell
joke
up.
was good.
Yeah.
It was better than Cool Ranch.
Oh, what?
No, I like
All right.
Cool Ranch. I like it.
And
Okay, come on. Hit me with your next one.
I'm confident I've told you guys this joke before, but it's
I will
my
still
barista
laugh.
joke. And you guys know what a coffee with a single shot of espresso is called a red eye. You guys know that?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Well, now you do. A coffee with 2 shots of espresso is called a black eye. Okay.
Okay.
So a coffee with 3 shots of espresso, I like to call that a JFK. See, why are you staring at me? Old men love this joke. Every time I've told a guy who looks like he was alive in 68, who has cracked the hell up.
I just love the fact that I could make you uncomfortable about your joke from here. You're like, why are you staring at me?
Apologies, correction. He was assassinated in 63, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
63. Anyway, it looks like they're alive in 63. Guys, they die laughing at that joke. But this demographic really works on 60-plus-year-old men, let me tell you.
Yeah. Apparently, you know your audience.
They love it. Those are my kindred spirits.
Yeah.
Whatever. I think it was a great joke. You're welcome, Mark.
No.
It is a good joke.
I will give you credit. It's a good joke.
All right.
I just know that I can hold straight face very well.
Yeah, you unnerved me. There's no doubt.
Just- oh, yeah. Sorry, Mark. I wish I could tell you some jokes, but I work in EMS and all of our jokes are messed up. So,
Yeah, I'm sure I heard plenty of twisted jokes in middle school that couldn't be repeated in the modern day.
oh, they only get darker. They
Yeah.
only get darker.
All right.
Stefan Rombing writes in, if you could travel through time one time each, what would you do? What would you do? Meet or travel to? That's just worded oddly. My brain had a conniption there.
Uh-huh.
Man. July 1969.
What happened July 1969?
Apollo 11 moon landing.
Okay. Do you want to be on the rocket?
No, I want to. I've loved the idea of like being alive during that time, but as a kid, and like that
Yeah.
sense of like the world came together for the most part, and there was like such a sense of wonderment over the fact that like people actually left the planet and stood on our moon for the first time.
Wow, it's very beautiful.
So, yeah, that's me. And I could meet Neil Armstrong and Jim Lovell and all the men who actually did that. Like
You should meet Neil right before he gets on the space shuttle, and then just give him the one giant leap for mankind thing. So that way he'll be like, "Damn it, I thought that was original." But really,
that would be terrible.
you just mess him up.
That.
So he just says something dumb. He's like, "Yeah, I like the rocks here.
There's dust.
It's crazy. Yo, this flag ain't moving with the breeze." Or is it? Who knows? Kubrick. You're the only one who knows.
Yeah, it's the only one. But yeah, I love. Unfortunately, like it's a very dark point in human history too, due to other reasons. But
Sure.
I love those pivotal moments where like all of humanity seems to be able to put their differences aside and like focus on like a one singular thing. Like those moments in human history have always fascinated me.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense. I feel like, absolutely. What about you, Alyssa? You got any? Are we? So is this? So you're traveling one time to each? Does that mean it's a one-way trip?
Yep, one-way trip.
Oh, we can't come
boy.
back?
I don't know.
You're there.
Well, he says travel through time. I feel like that means
Travel
you
through
go
time,
go
but
back.
one time each.
All right. It's a compelling. Yeah.
I don't know.
And see,
'cause
that's
I had my answer picked out with the assumption that I would come back, probably.
oh no,
Well-
you're stuck there.
What was your answer if you could come back?
Okay, if I could come back, this is a more serious one, and it's because I'm just honest about everything. Usually,
Uh-oh.
I would just love to go to the future and see what future me has achieved, because the future scares me thinking about it. So I'd kind of want to know if it's a good future or bad future. Not necessarily the
but-
steps in between. I just want to see that version of me, like what's going on with her, and then come back and then find out the journey and then get to the destination.
But I love your thought process. But here's the thing. By seeing your future, do you prevent it? Or do you actually make it happen?
It depends on if it's good or bad.
Yeah, friggin' Rod Serling over here.
Oh, dude, you're talking in my wheelhouse. Like, I love these kind of thought experiments. So,
Yeah.
also, by going back to 1969, if I retain my memory, I know how to make myself even richer.
That's true.
That's true. Yeah, he used to whip out some inventions.
Because at that point in time, you're like, okay, I can still live through these this era of like technology and like good things. Whereas like I went back to the 1800s and got like typhoid fever.
To hell yeah.
That sounds awful. But I could be like, hey, I'm going to buy like 1,000 stocks of Apple and just kick back.
That's, yeah. Not a bad strategy. As soon as they go public, swoop them up.
Mm-hmm.
Wait it out. Wait till the iPhone comes out and just live like a king. Yes.
Exactly.
A very old king, I guess, if you wait that long. You buy
But I
stock
could
in AT&T right when they get all those mergers that the FTC had to break up in the late 70s. You could probably make some big money there.
Gross. But can you imagine if I took some of like the modern day technology with me, like a cell phone?
Right, you could be
How advanced humanity could be at this point in time now.
Dude, holy crap! Maybe the congressional hearing aliens we're hearing about right now are you.
Maybe
You went back in time with
wow.
your cell phone. They just assumed you were an alien.
you've wondered about my time travel abilities before.
It only makes sense it would reach an end point. Dude, we're living in a cycle of Chris Behrensmeyer.
Exactly.
Oh my
Welcome
god!
to my universe.
Right. Oh
What
well,
about you?
CB stayed on brand, so I'll stay on brand. I'm going to go to 1870s Deadwood. How about that? I might get shot or get syphilis or typhoid fever, as you say.
I could
But damn it, I'm
see
in.
you as more as a Dodge City boy.
Dodge City's cool. A little Gunsmoke action. Hell, yeah, Dodge City's cool, but I don't know. You know, Deadwood, like there were times there was like the same month for like Wild Bill Hickok and the TV show, obviously, right? Like all those people being in the same place at the same time. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
It'd be fun seeing all those historical figures all in one place. Play some cards with Wild Bill Hickok. It's not going to end well for him, but
Oh,
it's going to end well for me.
just being there at that moment, be like, "Hey, I know what you have.
Right? Yeah, that'd be pretty cool, man.
You
Yeah,
you could prevent that death."
I could, but oh boy, that's now you're getting into tricky
Yeah.
situations.
They would be changing history.
But it
See,
could
that-
splinter to a different timeline and maybe not
Yeah.
affect your guys' timeline at
That's
all.
true.
Or would it override it?
Who knows?
We would never know.
Who knows?
That,
Yeah.
Like, we wouldn't know, honestly. So,
Well, yeah, it's true.
I love thought experiments.
Yeah, it would be great. What if it turns out I didn't even know it, but Wild Bill Hickok was an ancient ancestor to me? Now I've wiped myself out. Now
I'd be
I'm no
very
longer there.
sad. We probably
You
got-
would never know.
Yeah. I'd
Why
be
does
getting
it
Marty
feel like there's
McFly out of
someone
the-
missing from my life?
Yeah.
This is just like there's a void I didn't know
Yeah.
I needed.
Right. It's beautiful. Beautiful story. Yeah. Anyway, that'd be sweet. I'll be Seth Bullock's deputy. How about that?
Fair enough.
Drew Ross writes in, if you were stuck watching one decade of movies for the rest of your life, which decade would you choose and what are some of your favorite movies from that decade?
Ooh,
I'm pulling
this
up
is
my
hard.
letterbox for this.
Okay, hang on.
That's all right.
Are we talking specific like 1980s, 1970s, or a 10-year period?
I'm going to guess the spirit of the question
Yeah.
is 80s, 90s
Yeah.
of those.
God, because that legitimately puts me in between two, the 1970s and the 1980s.
70s was good.
70s was good.
That was like the director, right? I mean, the director just taking over for the studio, like had more power in the studio for the first time ever, man. It's pretty
Yeah.
sweet
And,
time,
I mean, you have Alien, Star Wars.
right? Taxi Driver.
Yeah, but then if you move into the 80s, you have Aliens, you have the Indiana Jones, like your Indiana Jones movies,
Oh, yeah.
Empire, 1981.
Right.
So that's why I'm just like, oh God, like it's so hard because those to me are two of the greatest like actual storytelling like movie periods. So it's so hard for me to choose because don't get me wrong, like I love a lot of the newer stuff, like the Lord of the Rings and things like that. But to me, none of those would have existed without all the movies coming out of the 70s and the 80s. The 80s I love just because it's just pure schlock and fun.
Right.
I mean, The Thing.
Oh, yeah. Amazing
Oh.
movie.
Yeah, of course. Great remake.
I think though, legitimately, I have to go with the 1970s. As much as I love the 80s and like the sci-fi explosion, yeah.
Yeah, what about you, Alyssa? You're the letterbox user amongst us.
I literally have my highest rated pulled up. My highest rated decade is the 90s, and there are 20 films listed that are my highest rated films of that decade. I could go through them really quick if you want me to, or I could just pick out the ones that are my favorite.
Wow, yeah,
Empire Records.
I'll just go. Shinking Express, which I just watched that last night, actually. Kiyoshi Kurosawa's Cure. She's All That. I love that movie. Cowboy Bebop is not a movie, but it's listed as one on here.
Well, it had a movie.
Well, it did have a movie,
it came out
but
in
this
the
is the
90s.
series listed.
Okay.
The Sixth Sense, Edward Scissorhands, Scream, which I love Scream. It's my favorite horror movie. Speed, Disney's Mulan. The next one's great. Halloween Town.
Oh no! I immediately veto.
No, that's from childhood.
That's a James or Disney Channel original
Yeah, it was
movie,
a
right?
It's a Disney Channel original.
Yes, that's from my childhood. Okay.
I understand the nostalgia for it.
Yeah.
I
still love it to this day. No shame. Silence of the Lambs, Schindler's List, The Matrix, Forrest Gump, Being John Malkovich, Before Sunrise, Misery, The Green Mile, The Shawshank Redemption. We got a lot of Stephen King here, and Pulp Fiction. There we go.
see, and that's another hard because I love Tarantino. So if I stick in the 70s, like at least Tarantino would understand.
That is very true. Yeah, he does love the 70s.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, speaking of which, Alyssa, my friend met Skeet Ulrich today.
Oh, that's so cool. Billy Loomis.
Dude, yeah. Oh, man. The decades thing is tough because I feel like if I could do like 65 to 75, that would be ideal.
Oh, for me, it would be 74 to 84.
Yeah. Boy, that would be good. Yeah, I think I might. The 90s are a special spot for me because, yeah, it has The Matrix and American Pie, which I love, and I loved all the thrillers of that era.
Oh, plus you get American Beauty.
Sure. Yeah. We're allowed to talk about Kevin Spacey still?
Yes.
He's innocent, right? He was found innocent, right?
Yeah, they found him not guilty.
We can talk about Kevin Spacey. It's fine.
I'm happy to talk about Kevin Spacey. Boy, but those are all good. But I mean, the 70s does have that director boom, you know? It's hard to ignore.
Yeah.
So I've been watching a lot of the 70s movies the past couple of years, and it really opens your eyes as being like, oh, this is where Tarantino and Nolan and et cetera, this is where they got all their inspirations pretty clearly. Yeah. It's hard to leave the full 60s behind because it has the Dollars trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
I feel you on that.
Yeah.
But I don't think the 60s were strong enough to be carried on just that alone.
No, I agree. It's a shame to leave my favorite movie behind, but I think I would go with the 70s as well.
Yeah. Plus, there's still some sci-fi in there. You get some Logan's Run.
Of course, yeah. Well, and of course, yeah. You get the first Star Wars, obviously. Alien. Dude, it's so hard to ever just say. It depends on the day. Alien or Aliens, which is better?
Yeah.
Alien see, by sticking with the 70s, like I have to leave like a good chunk of John Carpenter behind.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're right. It's this.
But I still get Halloween.
Yeah. Tough choice. Well, all right. Now that we're all had to pick half choices. Fear. Yeah. Who's next? Here?
I'll take it. Fear 74. Mine is sort of along the lines of Caramel Bear question. Had there ever been a time when you weren't a gamer? What I mean to ask is, has there ever been a time when video games weren't prevalent? Perhaps you were in another hobby or busy with a job or career, or perhaps unfortunately it was a time that they brought you no joy. No rehashing necessary, but you catch my meaning. When I was like 3?
Before they became the dominant part of your life? You're saying?
I'm like legitimately trying to think about this because for me, like gaming has been like such a part of my identity. Like growing up, like 4 years old, we got an Atari. Yeah, I mean, gaming has been such a part of my identity for almost my entire life. So, yeah, from 1 to 3. There you go, Fierce.
Nice. I know that there was like a summer in between 2 school years where I didn't play a game at all. But I think that was more because we had gotten robbed, so I didn't really have the option. So I think I'm with you, CB, where it's never really left me. There's been times where it's been less prevalent, but I can think of getting drunk a lot in Chicago in my mid 20s. It was hard. It wasn't as easy to find time for games then.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, any time really I can think of in my life. Yeah, games are a big part of it. Just an exciting, artistic medium, or and I was always listening to podcasts about video games and stuff like that. I think it's kind of been an ever-present part of my life, honestly.
Well, for me, there definitely was a period. I guess this is the podcast episode where Alyssa is just open and raw and vulnerable. But I stopped playing games in middle school because my middle school years were absolute hell for me, because I was just constantly going to doctors, having tests run, going through mental health issues that I didn't know I had really at the time. And I was just so consumed with going to the doctor all the time, getting these tests done, and, just kind of having my teenage years taken away, that I didn't play games. And I didn't play games in high school because I was trying to fit in, kind of. I was like, reading and watching Twilight and reading the Hunger Games books and trying to fit in with all the other girls. So I didn't really play games during that time, and I didn't get back into gaming until I dropped out of college due to, again, mental health issues. And that was the thing that brought me back from that period, was getting my PS3 at the time with LA Noire. So there was a good chunk of my life where I was just kind of either trying to fit in with people, or I was struggling with things that I just didn't play games.
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, LA Noirs
just drop it. Like, to me, it's no big deal. And I'm like, oh god,
Hey,
I shocked them.
No, here's the thing, Alyssa. For those out there listening, screw the haters. Don't need to belong.
Sure.
You do you.
I would imagine now, though, everybody's a gamer, right? At school?
No.
You don't think so?
No.
Okay.
There's people that are still out there who are very much against gaming.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Screw them. Let them do them. I mean, throughout my life, I've done many things outside of gaming, but it's always been a core value to me, because, but I married like the most non-gamer I know, so it's weird. But yeah, do what makes you happy. Like if games make you happy, you do that.
Oh, I do that now. Now that I've grown up, but teenage Alyssa.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a message for everybody.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right. Yeah. Alyssa, you want to finish this out?
Sure. Pauline actually has a question for CB, but he is asking, how do you game with an almost 1-year-old in the house? How do you separate out your space to make this happen? And are you able to play through bigger games, or are you sticking to smaller games that you can just pick up and put down quickly?
You learn to control magic abilities.
You put your kid in a soundproof room so you can't hear them when they need you.
No, I've kind of learned to play games one-handed.
Zack's face.
Yeah. I podcast one-handed every week.
Yeah.
Well, only when Alyssa's on.
No,
I'm sorry.
I can actually play a lot of games one-handed. But with a 1-year-old, I mean, he's now discovered how to walk.
Oh, that age.
So, but he's also very curious. So, like, I have like very brain stimulating toys that I can put in front of him. But I also don't sleep. You can, Scott can attest to this. I will work a 24-hour shift and then immediately go and help at the club or go home and game. Yeah.
All right, so you've trained your body.
Yes. Years of sleep deprivation and mental fortitude. That is how I do this.
Well, that sounds healthy.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm fine.
Yeah.
Someday I know it's going to end, but
Hey, man, you're one of the happiest guys I know.
Oh, for sure.
yeah. I try, man. I try.
Yeah. Rub it in.
Yeah, rub it in our
Joy.
faces.
Hey, you know what? Happiness for me has always just been a mindset.
It's a good mindset.
Wow.
I don't let people bother me. Just screw
That's
it all,
good.
man.
The only person bothering me is myself. So
That's me too.
yeah,
See,
never
but here's the
never
thing: you
goes away.
just block out the void.
Oh,
That's what
I've been so much happier since moving
Oh yeah,
here. So
But-
yeah.
dude. It took honestly, like legitimately, it took me a long time to be able to block out intrusive thoughts and just be like, you know what? I'm just gonna be happy.
Don't worry. Yeah.
They got it right. Listen to a lot of Bob Marley. There you go.
There you go.
That'll make you
yeah,
happy.
that gets you life. Well, that about does it for this week's topic. Thank you guys for sending in your questions, guys and gals, and thank you so much. Next week's topic is Beyond Call of Duty. I don't know what that means, but I'm sure Scott must.
I know what it means.
Okay,
What
what
are we
does
gonna-
it mean?
What are we gonna do after Call of Duty? Is there gonna be life beyond Call of Duty?
Oh, I see. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Could be interesting. If you ever want to call into the show and have your message listened to live on the air, you can call us at phone number 347-746-2278 or 3477-GO-CAST. But that will do it for this week's episode of The Gaming Outsider. Alyssa White, Kara Sparensmeyer, thank you guys so much for being here. You guys rock. And thank you guys for listening. The episode of The Gaming Outsider is produced by Kevin Honingford, and all the music you hear is written and performed by Grant Henry of Stemage and Motorhead Metal. You can find him at stemagemusic.com. Please be sure to email us if you have any questions or concern. Our address is at feedback@thegamingoutsider.com. CB, before we get out of here, do you have any parting words for the listeners?
I watched 2 new movies this week.
Okay.
I watched The Meg 2.
The Meg 2, The Trench.
Yes.
It's not good.
Did you like the
Sorry.
first Meg?
Oh, dude, I thought it was a blast.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was a fun little ride.
It
First
it
Meg
didn't seem like an
2
idea that needed revisiting.
Not really, no. It was fun.
No, it as over the top as the first Meg was. The second one, I'm just like, meh.
The meh.
Some cool visuals. That's about it. And then a horror movie that I have been looking forward to, that for a while, Talk to Me.
Okay.
I do want to see that one.
Don't get your hopes
Oh.
up.
Oh, really? I've heard good things.
It is an A24 film.
Oh, dude, I love A24
Okay.
and I love Blumhouse, but man, was I bored. I've been hyped on this movie. I don't know what it is, but for me, I was legitimately bored. The horror never really hit me. So, just go into it with an open mind and hopefully you'll have a better experience than I did.
What's a bummer, man?
It is a bummer.
Sorry I disappointed you.
Dude, it makes me sad because 2 horror movies in the same time frame, and I'm like, sad.
Man, 2 disappointment, 2 non-recommendations.
They're out there. They're for somebody. Unfortunately for me, who absolutely adores horror movies, they both kind of fell flat for me.
What about you, Alyssa? You got any parting words, recommendations?
I don't have anything specific to recommend, but I seem to always, when I'm going through like something, and right now I'm going kind of through like a healing journey that lasted pretty much close to a year. I go back to watching films, and I do this thing where I watch movies I've never seen but I've wanted to, and I've really been watching a lot of older foreign films, and these haven't necessarily been obscure or anything, but they're ones that were highly regarded, and I just have never seen them, and it's been so much fun actually watching them and getting to experience these stories. And I haven't watched a single bad one yet. Like, I've been so impressed by all the movies I've watched, and it's just kind of incredible to think about that there are all these amazing movies out that, you know, you just haven't seen, and then you get to see it for the first time, and it just ends up being this incredible experience, and it helps you out along the way with escapism, or makes you think, and it's just, I don't know, it's just there's something so wonderful about it.
I can feel that. Have you seen the movie High Fidelity?
I have not. That is on my list. My list is huge, by the way.
Since you are on a journey of self-healing, I highly recommend watching that movie.
I'll try to find it. I'm also very much a mood watcher. Like, a random movie will come to mind. I'll be like, I'm watching that today. I think this week is going to be a Wong Kar-wai film week. So.
But it's got John and Joan Cusack and Jack Black.
Yeah.
Dude, I've got such a crush on Joan Cusack.
Oh, I love Joan Cusack.
Yeah, dude, her voice. Oh my god, does it for me.
Especially in that movie, because you get the full Joan Cusack.
Yeah, her little lisp thing. Oh, she's great in School of Rock. Anyway, as for me, you know, I watched a couple movies on the plane. I watched Michael Clayton, which I'd never seen.
Okay.
That was okay. A little legal thriller. It was all right. George Clooney's an exceptional actor, so that was nice. But I also watched No Country for Old Men.
Oh, I love that
movie. Great
which I had not seen since I was like 16. When I was 16, I was like, yeah, you know, Sugar's cool, but it's okay. But now watching it at like 32, I'm like, this movie's exceptional. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, just like every frame of this thing's a masterpiece. Holy crap. It was an incredible film. I couldn't believe it. And the ending that when I was a teenager, I was like, well, that's kind of weird. As an adult, I'm like, dude, that was brilliant. So that was pretty great. Yeah, I mean, obviously, yeah, to Javier Bardem as Anton Chigurh.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable.
He's phenomenal. Yeah.
Just bone chilling.
I think you need to go watch There Will Be Blood.
Right, same year, right? These two movies.
Yeah.
So I think I do need to. I've never seen There Will Be Blood.
So I just got chills because I'm like, with you being on a Western kick, how have you not watched? Or the 3:10 to Yuma remake?
Oh, that's
I love
a great
that
movie. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I thought There Will Be Blood is not like about an oil tycoon, right?
Yeah, but it's got a very Western style feel to it.
Oh, okay.
Like it's almost like the end of the Old West into the Industrial Revolution.
Right. Okay. I mean, I definitely want to see it. Don't get me wrong. I've never gotten around to it. That's PTA, right? Paul Thomas Anderson?
It is indeed.
Yep.
Yeah.
With some Daniel Day-Lewis.
Of course. Well, yeah, PTA's made some good movies. Licorice Pizza was a banger.
I still have yet to see that one.
It's pretty good. Well, that's me. No Country for Old Men. Hell of a motion picture.
Yeah. I might go watch it tonight now. Dang it.
Josh Brolin is also a great actor.
I mean, the whole cast was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like Josh Brolin just, you know, he's like, oh, he's Thanos.
Yeah.
But
to me, like the two best Josh Brolins for me will always be, I loved him as Cable.
Oh yeah.
And then Only the Brave.
That was a good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. That movie is phenomenal.
He's great.
So,
well, anyway, until next week, I'm Zach Parson with Chris Barensmeyer, CB himself, and Alyssa White, and we are the Gaming Outsider. Remember, there's no such thing as a bad game, just games that aren't for you.